Yesterday we looked at the fact that there is power in wise words, but today we're going to take note that there is also power in evil words. Solomon makes the statement in Proverbs 11 and verse 9 that with his mouth the godless man destroys his neighbor, but through knowledge the righteous will be delivered. We might expect that the godless man, by his evil words, would be able to annoy, anger, or inconvenience his neighbor. But Solomon says that the evil words of the godless man are able to destroy his neighbor. We see this through lies, through deception, slander, through wicked counsel, false testimony. All of these are things that are able to ruin the life and even jeopardize the soul of another. Solomon says that a worthless man digs up evil, while his words are like scorching fire. A perverse man spreads strife, and a slanderer separates intimate friends. Proverbs 16, verses 27 and 28. Solomon here uses the illustration of fire to describe just how destructive the words of the evil man are. James used this same analogy when he discussed the power of the tongue, when he says, "So also the tongue is a small part of the body, and yet it boasts of great things. See how great a forest is set aflame by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, the very world of iniquity. The tongue is set among our members, so that which defiles the entire body, and sets on fire the course of our life, and is set on fire by hell." James 3, verses 5 and 6. The strife that is caused by the scorching fire that can come forth from the mouth of the worthless and perverse man is able to divide even the closest of friends. A stone is heavy and the sand is weighty, but the provocation of a fool is heavier than both of them. Proverbs 27 and verse 3. And Solomon again here uses an analogy which can be easily understood. The weight of the stone or the weight of the sand is able to be an oppressible burden. But if it is great enough, one can even be crushed by it. But notice that he says that the provocation of a fool is more burdensome and damaging than the weight of the sand or the stone. The fool's provocation or wrath could be applied very broadly in this sense, but in the context, Solomon is describing the damaging words of the fool. And in the verses before, he mentions boasting and praise that may come from one's mouth in Proverbs 27 verses 1 and 2. And he continues this thought by describing the damaging effects of a fool's words as he arrogantly uses them against others. Notice Proverbs 26 beginning in verse 20, where he says, "For lack of wood the fire goes out, and where there is no whisperer contentions quiet down. Like charcoal to hot embers, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a whisperer are like dainty morsels, and they go down into the innermost parts of the body. Like an earthen vessel overlaid with silver dross are burning lips and a wicked heart. And he who hates disguises it with his lips, but he lays up deceit in his heart. And when he speaks graciously, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred covers itself with guile, his wickedness will be revealed before the assembly. He who digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone, it will come back upon him. A lying tongue hates those it crushes, and a flattering mouth works ruin." Now, there are several points made about the power of words in this passage. First, evil words not only cause strife, but they sustain it. Evil words are the fuel to the fire. And just as a fire will die out when it has no fuel, strife will die out when there is no fuel for it, meaning the words of the contentious man. Second, words go down into the innermost parts of the body. They deeply affect the hearer and are not easily forgotten. Third, words are able to disguise hatred in one's heart, as the ugliness of an earthen vessel can be disguised when it is overlaid with silver. Fourth, the deceptive words of the wicked man are not only dangerous to the hearer, but will cause trouble for himself. And then lastly, number 5, a lying and flattering tongue is able to crush and ruin those that it hates. So yes, friends, there is power as well in evil words. Friends, we thank you for joining us for our program today, and have a blessed day.